Hello, everyone. Today, let's talk about another Social Security program, another Social Security benefit that a lot of people get wrong. I talk to people every day. Just talked to somebody yesterday that misunderstood the entire program and how it works. And YouTubers out there and on the interwebs, they seem to get this incorrect quite often. So this is another one of my many videos correcting the uh, uh, the information out there on the internet and YouTube and all the rest of it. All right. So my name is Ed Weir, former district manager of the Social Security Administration. I've helped hundreds of thousands of people throughout the country with all things Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, all the rest of it, disability, survivor benefits, spousal benefits. So if you got any questions, you need help, make sure you give us a call or click on the link below and let's see if we can help you out. All right. So what we're going to talk about today is widow's benefits. So there is called a RIB lib. Uh, RIB is the retirement insurance benefits, and the LIM is LIM, that is a limit. So what it is basically when, let's say, the husband files for benefits at 62 years old. Okay. So that is the earliest that person can file for regular retirement benefits at 62 years old. And because it's quite a ways from the full retirement age, it's going to be reduced. With Social Security, almost any time you receive your benefits early, except for like disability or something, then your benefits are going to be reduced. Okay. So somebody files for retirement at 62, they're reduced quite a bit, around 30% or so. That person, let's say their benefit amount, their PIA, which is their primary insurance amount, which is basically how much they would have received if they waited till their full retirement age, 65, 66 and 6 months or 8 months or 67 or whatever the case may be. They're reduced by about 30%, depending on when they were born. So for instance, in this particular case, if the person's PIA, their benefit amount at their full retirement age was 1,000, to make it easy, 30% reduction. So they file early, get a 30% reduction. So they're going to receive $700. $700 once you file, and once you lock that in, pretty much that's going to be your benefit for the rest of your life, right? Obviously, COLA increases. And what a lot of people miss is, yes, I've even had people call me recently and they said they go into a Social Security office and they ask, well, if they ask a Social Security employee, if I still work, and I pay into Social Security, will my benefit increase? And Social Security employees, unfortunately, I think they're putting new employees at the windows. They are saying, no, once you're locked in, you're locked in. Yes, that is the case. But if you work and the work you do for that particular year is one of your high 35 years of earnings, then Social Security will automatically adjust that the following year once we get notified by the IRS, how much you made, and we look at it, and it's an automatic process. We used to do it manually in the office, and some of those, and yeah, it was a kind of a nightmare. But now it's a fully automated process, and your benefit amount is increased. Again, if it's one of the high 35 years of earnings. I still get people call me every day and say, yeah, but I made so much money, more money the last year, so my benefit should be higher. It should be based on the last year, the last 3 years, the last 5 years or so. No, 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 no. The high 35 years of earnings. Okay. So, so if you work, long story short, if you work and it's one of your high 35 years, once your employer notifies the IRS and the IRS notifies Social Security, the calculation will be done automatically. It usually takes about a couple 3 months. So if you file in April and May, June, you'll see your benefit increase, and they'll go all the way retro back to January of that year if the previous year was a high year. So okay, let's put that to the side. So this particular individual is going to receive $700. Several years later, that particular person passes away. And then the spouse comes in and files for survivor benefits, or previous spouse, ex-spouse, right? They were married 10 years, they file for survivor benefits. And usually how it works is, say, for instance, if the surviving spouse was receiving, let's say, $500 on their own record, and then the spouse passes away, what they do is you don't get both. You don't get 700 plus 500. Wish that was the case, but it's not. Um, the surviving spouse essentially gets what the deceased spouse was receiving, that's $700 minus their own. So in this case, the wife in this case would get $500, continue to get $500 from her own, plus get an extra $200 from the deceased spouse record. So for a total of $700. But this is where this LIM comes into play. Basically, Congress made a law and said, okay, the surviving spouse, obviously the deceased spouse's income is no longer coming into the house. The deceased filed way early, so there's like a 30% reduction. And Congress decided, well, that's probably too much of a reduction above and beyond what that surviving spouse, is already going to lose in terms of that other income. So they did this limit of the reduction. So instead of the surviving spouse being reduced 30% and only getting, like say, $700, so they get 82.5% of that person's primary insurance amount. So 82.5% of $1,000, right? $825. So instead of the full reduction, like the deceased spouse was receiving, 30%, therefore $700, the surviving spouse will receive 82.5% of the PIA, the full benefit amount. Again, they would receive their own $500, plus they would receive another $325 from the deceased spouse's record. So that is the LIM and how it works. And again, a lot of people think it's 82.5% of the monthly benefit amount, the MBA of the number holder, the NH, Social Security. There's millions of acronyms. You don't need to remember all the acronyms, but there's always millions of acronyms. And even though I'm retired from Social Security, unfortunately, I still remember all the acronyms. But anyway, so it's not 82.5% of the $700. It's 82.5% of the primary insurance amount. Again, the primary insurance amount, the PIA, is the amount that person would have received if they were receiving their benefits at their full retirement age, when they filed at their full retirement age. Okay, so the 82.5%. So this is, it's not the greatest system in the world. Wish it was a lot more money, particularly for surviving spouses, considering they've just lost their spouse and therefore they've lost that income and they still have the same rent and mortgage and food and all the rest of it to pay for. But I guess every little bit helps. So make sure that your surviving benefits make sure your surviving benefit amount is correct, and make sure they did take that limitation into account. All right, if you have any questions and need any help, make sure you give us a call or click the link below that says learn more, and let's see how we can help you out. Have a beautiful day.